Hello, good morning. Ooh, it is a new week. Okay, so today I want to talk about something. It's going to seem a little off topic because we're talking about spring cleaning, your life, your business. This week we're talking about spring cleaning your finances on the podcast, which if you're not listening to the podcast, you can go to smallbizmama.com and check out all the episodes there. Or you can go anywhere you listen to podcasts, okay, and look for Small Biz Mama. Okay, so this week on the podcast, we're talking about spring cleaning your finances, and you should go check out that episode. It dropped this morning. Last week we talked about spring cleaning your business. We've talked about spring cleaning your life, and so it's been really fun to do these episodes. Now, you're sitting there going, Kristen, what does your unwillingness to ask for help have to do with finances? Well, here's the thing. In my research that I've done, in my own experience working primarily with women, the vast majority of my clients are women. Women typically don't know a lot about finances, and they are unwilling to ask for help to learn for the most part. And so I think that this whole thing, it all kind of centers in together. So let me tell you why I was thinking about this topic. Okay, so many of you know, but I think also many of you don't know that I teach at a university, and I've taught at university for let's see. So I started in 2008, right? So this is 13 years, and this is my last semester teaching at the university because I am dedicating myself full time to bookkeeper training school. And I had a really sad experience last week where I was teaching a group of freshmen and sophomores a very intro, basic accounting course. And I could tell, I'm doing this online, right? And nobody has their cameras on, and, and the chat is getting really quiet. And, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, come on, guys. I'm like, if there's something you don't understand, like, you've got to tell me. And, like, listen, like, with Zoom, the cool thing with Zoom is that they can chat directly to me. They don't have to tell the whole classroom. So one of the things that I think is great about Zoom is that, that students have the ability to do that. But I had multiple people message me directly and say, I'm afraid to ask a question because, I don't want somebody to think that I'm stupid, or I don't know the answer, or that I need help. And then I talk to women, right? And at the same time, I have all these women telling me I can't show weakness in front of my children. I cannot show them that I don't have all the answers. I cannot ask for help. I will not ask for help. I do not ask for help. And I'm going, okay. So think about what this does for your children when you're unwilling to seek help, okay? Or you're unwilling to show them that sometimes you don't have the answers, and that, we need to learn new things. We need to do new things. We need to acquire new knowledge. So think about what this does when you are raising your children. Okay? Don't ask questions. Don't seek out answers. Don't search for things you don't know. And then we wonder why our kids go into classrooms and they're not willing to raise their hands and say, I don't know, right? Or I have a question. I really think, it's interesting because I started to think about this, and I even noticed, like, in our own home, we tend to do the hard things after Eric goes to bed. Right? Eric typically doesn't see us, like, struggle with things. I also noticed too, it's interesting, typically my wind down time is in the evening after Eric has gone to bed. Eric doesn't see me read a whole lot. He doesn't see me try to learn a whole lot. Because those are things that we tend to do after he goes to bed or while he's napping. And so when we're trying to instill in our children, you need to learn new things. Learning is good. Learning is, something that you want to do your whole life. But yet they never see us learning. They never see us struggle. And we have this issue, going back to finances, we have this issue in our country where we don't share our finances with our kids because we don't want them to know that piece. But then the problem is in not showing them, they also never learn about finances. I mean, I learned, it was haphazard how I learned about money. Like, I saw my mom doing her checkbook, but I didn't really know how it worked. And everybody says they need to teach this in school. We are the primary educators of our children, right? If there's home stuff that you want your kid to know, it is our responsibility to teach them. Now, I know sometimes, listen, I know some of you with money, you come to me and you're like, Kristen, I can't teach my kids about money. I don't know about money. Okay, so how can you learn so that you can show them what they need to know? Right? And this all goes back to our unwillingness to ask for help. Right? So how can we get on a path so that we can increase the knowledge that we need to pass it on to our children? Okay? I know that this is such a struggle for a lot of us, right? My daughter's going through this right now with my granddaughter. It's tough. It's a struggle, right? Because we want to always be seen as the ones that are strong, right? That mom has all of the answers. And we don't. And it's okay for our kids to see that. Because if they don't see that, they're going to go into classrooms and they won't ask questions, right? And they won't speak up because they don't see us doing it. I can't remember who said this or where I originally heard this, but it's one of my favorite quotes. More is caught than taught. Right? Our kids are watching what we're doing. They don't just pick up our bad language, although they're very good at that. They're very good at that. They pick up our behaviors. They pick up our mannerisms. They say, hey, you know what? If my parents aren't willing to ask questions, why should I have to learn new things? My parents don't ever learn new things. Why do I have to read? My parents don't read. Why can't I have screen time? My parents are always on the screen. Oh boy, that's one. This gets me all the time. I talk to you guys about my struggle with my phone. I go through that. No, Eric, no, you can't watch TV right now as I'm sitting there texting on my phone. That's why we call the podcast Confessions of a Small Biz Mama. Okay. Because trust me, all of this stuff is stuff I have to work on too. The reason that I think of these things is because a lot of times I go, oh man, I can't believe I just did that. All right. That would make a good live, or that would make a good podcast. That's where a lot of these topics come from. And so, what I'd like you to start thinking about, it's we've got two more, actually I think we have one more episode, right, of the podcast in this month. And what I would love to see you do before this month is over is I'd love for you to think about what is something that you would love to learn in your life that will help make your life better. Maybe it's learning how to manage your money better. Maybe it's learning how to let your emotions out, let your emotions go. Maybe it's something about being a better parent. Whatever that thing is, okay, I want you can go to the library, you can find resources. If you want, you can ask me. Feel free to message the page. I'm happy to help you with that. If you're in bookkeeper training school, okay, you can ask in the Empower Bookkeeper Network. We'll help you out. I also have a form. You can go to askkristen.net, and that's Kristen with 2 I's. And you can fill out the form, and I'll do a live on it. Okay? I think that it is critically important. I love that. So Carlotta said, when my 18-year-old son saw me doing your bookkeeping classes, he was like, Mom, you're always doing something. So they do pay attention. I tell him never to stop feeding your brain. That's awesome. I love that. And that's one thing that I'm really trying to instill in Eric. So I'm being much more conscious of doing puzzles in front of Eric, like me doing puzzles in front of Eric. Building, like having him see me, build Legos, having him see me read more. So I'm trying to read more in front of him, not on a screen, but like actually like either a magazine or a book. I'm trying to get him to see me writing more. Because I think that it is so incredibly important for kids to see us modeling the type of behavior that we want them to have. And so if you want your kid to love learning, your kid has to see you love learning. Okay? Because being that example is so, so important. So I love Tammy said her solution, she got Monopoly money and she started teaching her daughter about bills, savings accounts, and shopping. Chores to earn money like a job with Monopoly money. No, that is so cool. One thing that one of my friends does with his kids is his kids didn't really understand the value of coins, right? They just knew they were monies, right? And Eric is kind of at that stage, monies. And so what he would do is when his kids did chores, he would give them like pennies and nickels. And they didn't really understand when they were super little the difference between the coins, but they just knew how many coins they got. And then one coin went into savings, one coin went into giving, and one coin went into spending. And then they had to save up their coins for what they wanted. And so that's my friend Nick Pavlidis. He runs the 5 Minutes with Dad podcast, which is such a good podcast. Such a good show. If you're looking for something you can actually listen to with your kids, 5 Minutes with Dad is a phenomenal, phenomenal show. So go check that out. But I love that he did that because when he records the podcast with his kids, he was giving them coins, and now they're older, but this was something he did when they were really, really little. And I just love that. I think it's so cool. So, a really inexpensive way, to teach your kids about money. But figure out what your thing is. I'd love to know, like, if you pick your thing, like, this is the thing I want to learn, I want to get better at, okay? I would love for you to post it once you figure it out. I know some of you are in bookkeeper training school and you're learning that. I think, one of the unintended consequences of going through bookkeeper training school is that if you haven't been managing your money well, just going through the process of like hooking up accounts and looking at what people are spending on makes you think more about what you're spending your money on. And so I talk about in this week's episode, I talk about doing kind of just going through all of your statements to see what you're spending your money on. We save, every time I do this, we end up canceling things, or we end up, finding things that we're spending money on. So check out that episode again. It's at smallbizmama.com. Okay, smallbizmama.com or smallbizmama, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And let me know in the comments what you want to learn more about what you're going to learn to improve yourself as we move forward into spring. All right, guys, you have an awesome day. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.